And in our first story, Accra Mayor Alfred Oko van der Poy has assured Accra is unlikely to ever see flooding on the scale as was witnessed on the 3rd of June 2015. An estimated 150 people lost their lives when an explosion at a fuel station in Accra, where pedestrians had taken shelter during a downpour, tossed them into flood waters.
The Mayor at a news conference on Wednesday says considerable work has been done to avert another tragedy this year.
Mayor of Accra, Alfred Oko van der Poy, has given a strong word that this year Accra will not see floods in the manner that resulted in the death of dozens across the capital, among which is the twin disaster at the Kwame Nkrumah Circle. Mr. Van der Poy says he is sure the impact of the floods will be minimal this year because over the past, at least 40% of the projects required to solve flooding in the capital city have been completed.
I am here this morning to report officially to you that Accra is standing better than the days of June 3rd. That the commitment to make sure that we remove all obstacles, the silt and dredge, the Kole and the Odo, to ensure water will flow whenever it rains in Accra, will continue and continue unabated. That is my assurance on behalf of government to the people of Accra and indeed the whole nation, that the people's capital is ever safe than before. You are witnesses to the fact that last week we had 3 or 4 days of severe rains and the city was able to withstand the circumstances and the aftermath of the rain. That is 40% of the work that needs to be done.
Meanwhile, the CEO of the National Petroleum Authority has pledged to donate 1 million Ghana cedi to the Kolebu Burns Unit in lieu of the support it offered to victims in last year's disaster.
Since after June 3rd, a lot of measures have been taken to make sure that we tighten the safety and integrity of our fuel stations, especially in crowded cities. Also, to solidarize with the situation that happened on June 3rd, the National Petroleum Authority has committed approximately 1 million cedis to refurbish the Burns unit in Kolebu, so that into the future, when we get burns, at least we'll get a place for treatment.
AMA has set aside 3 days from Friday, June 3 through to Sunday for a commemoration of the June 3 flood and fire disaster with a lineup of activities where a memorial service amidst other events will be used to commemorate the disaster.
Well, meanwhile, the National Disaster Management Organization says it fears that until some engineering and technical issues are addressed, Ghana will be unable to fix the perennial flooding situation in Accra and other parts of the country.
Speaking to Joy News in an exclusive interview, the National Coordinator of NATMO, Brigadier General Francis Vipson Ziri, said some major drains that are supposed to channel water into the sea are still choked, while others have not been connected. He has meanwhile rejected suggestions NATMO should be involved in preventing floods.
Last year, the Odo River was silted. The Kole Lagoon was equally silted and jammed with waste. And all this prevented the free flow of water into the sea. We have so many drains. The Nima drain, Accra Academy drains, Malam Junction drain. These are all drains that are not having the free flow. If you go to Malam Junction, there is a filling station that has blocked the river. Total filling station. Accra Academy, there is supposed to be a major drain under the road at First Light. that major drain, which even though it exists, is not connected to the main water course that is coming in front of Accra Academy. So with all these things I'm citing, not well connected and silted, there is no way we will have a free flow of water to the sea. And those areas are always flooded because of these reasons I've assigned. Come to think of it, floods can come, but our ultimate objective will always be that when they come and go, we should save lives. Nobody should be affected. And how can we do that? We can only do this. We can't prevent the floods. We can only mitigate the effects of the floods.
Is that what NADMO is supposed to do?
Yes, NADMO, our objective is not to, we cannot prevent floods. We can mitigate the effects.
So the disaster must take place before?
No, mitigating the effects doesn't mean you should wait for the disaster to come. Mitigating the effects of the flood could be getting in. If we have early warning of an impending downpour, and we are able to caution the people in those flood-prone areas that this is going to happen and we're likely to have floods, move out of the area, we will save lives. You don't have to wait till the disaster comes, the water floods the place before you move in. You move out, caution the people, assist them to move out of the area into a safe haven before the floods get in.
In another development, the National Disaster Management Organization says it is the responsibility of the Maritime Authority to maintain safety on the Volta Lake, where a number of lives have been lost to boat tragedies. Reacting to the latest accident at Yeji, where at least 19 deaths have been confirmed in Sunday's tragedy, the national coordinator of NADMO said the naval detachment that is patrolling the area may be too small to deal with the situation on the lake.
Brigadier General Francis Vipson believes if the bearings on which boats on the lake travel are identified, it could go a long way to cut down on accidents on the lake.
Ghana Maritime Authority is responsible for that. It's not NADMO's job to provide those things. We would go in if it happens, but it's not our job to keep safety in the maritime environment. So it is, every group has a job. It's when it happens this way we have to go in. The safety on all our waters is Ghana Maritime Authority. They have to ensure the safety of the boats, ensure that the boats have the necessary safety equipment. That is their responsibility. When the accident happens, it's an accident, and we would go to assist. That is what we can do. Maritime Authority has placed detachment of Navy in Yeji to take care of the safety of the lake. But I believe the naval detachment is just too small to be able to man the whole lake, being positioned at Yeji. I wish they had the capability to cover a number of areas along the lake to make sure they inspect the serviceability of the boats that are plying the place and the routes they use. There should be specific routes that all the boats should ply and not pass anywhere you want.
Have you advised them?
Yes, we've advised that. I've talked to the Navy, at least, and I intend, we have some boats, and I've talked to the Navy, I intend giving the Navy, we have some speedboats, at least to place about 2 of those speedboats to assist them in attending to some of these things on the lake. Even if you take aircrafts in the air, they don't move anyhow. You have specific bearings that they take, and they move on that. So that is what I think if we do, they'll be able to be sure that this particular bearing from this point, if you are going to this town across the river, you must go on this bearing or through this particular area. If you do it that way, we'll be able to get the Navy and other maritime authorities to ensure that there are no storms within that portion of the river. Because what we're hearing is this boat that had an accident last week, it hit a storm. But if we have a specific area that they are to pass, we'll be able to work out to clear the storms in that area and compel all boats to use those specific routes on the lake. That might help reduce these accidents. They're becoming too frequent.
And in other stories, JUSAC has called off its almost 2-week strike following several discussions with government over the harmonization of their salaries and allowances.
JUSAC President Alex Nate spoke to our colleague Emmanuel Ante.
According to the president of the Judicial Service Staff Association of Ghana, JUSAG, Alex Nate, a marathon negotiation between the association, government and other stakeholders yielded positive results, hence their decision to call off the strike.
Had consultations and held National Executive Council meetings yesterday, and we have had some consensus with government. We have had a framework within which the implementation process is going to be handled. And so the implementation committee, being the presidential committee and that of the Judicial Council, will start meeting today on the processes. Such being the case, it is no longer necessary to be on strike. We have therefore called off the strike.
Government, in consultation with stakeholders, has decided to implement the consolidated salary as recommended by the Judicial Council. The association has therefore called on its staff nationwide to resume work immediately. JUSAC embarked on an indefinite strike on May 19. The industrial action brought work at the courts to a halt, leaving litigants and lawyers stranded.
The Convention People's Party says it is poised to win the November elections. The chairman of the party, Professor Edmond Dele, says the CPP is not leaving anything to chance in its campaign to return the party to the Flagstaff House to change the economic fortunes of Ghana.
Professor Dele was speaking at the 50th birthday party of the presidential candidates of the party, Ivor Green Streets.
I want to signal to all Ghanaians and to all people all over the world that we are making history this time. And the history is that this is the first time in Africa that a person who has a disability has been elected as the flag bearer of the Convention People's Party. A massive support, 64.4% of all CPP members voted for him. And I believe strongly that it's the work of God. Who chooses leaders? It's not human beings. It's God who chooses leaders. That is why I'm proud to see that we are all assembled here to give the support, the blessings to Green Street. I am confident as your leader that never again shall the CPP be treated as a small party. Never again shall we have a disunited CPP. All of you should come on board because the green train is on its way to victory, to the Flagstaff House. So I call on all members of the Convention People's Party and all supporters of the Convention People to come on. We have said, and we continue to say, that this is the time for the Convention People's Party. We brought independence to Ghana, and our next step now is to do what? Bring economic independence to our country and to Africa. We are the leaders of the African political scene, and we are back again. I also want to give thanks to members of the Convention People's Party that you have taken this small man, I call myself Gaziere Bayoragwa, to come and carry out this serious matter. And I say, and I pledge that your choice shall not be something done in vain. And I promise you that there is no way that the Convention People's Party is going to lose these elections. We shall campaign in the streets. We shall campaign on top of the trees. We shall go to heaven and hear that CPP is back. We shall go under the waters, to the fishes, to the birds in the air, to the villages, to the cottages, to the markets, And we will sing the name of Green Street and tell us that once the Savior has come, he's the young Nkrumah who has come. And Nkrumah never fails. Nkrumah never dies. Green Street, it is your responsibility to take this party to the highest. We are either going to be first or with the first.
Sounds like the battle has been drawn. We wait to see what happens. Let's move over from the CPP now to the NPP, because the party's flag bearer is accusing the NDC of neglecting the fisherfolk at Teshi, who for years have been loyal to the party.
Nana Akufo-Addo says high premix fuel prices and soaring electricity tariffs have rendered the sector unprofitable for most fishermen, and he also promises to revamp the sector when elected.
The NPP flag bearer continued his campaign tour of the Greater Accra region with a visit to the Lejokuku and Kroa constituencies. Residents who mainly rely on fishing for survival complained about the unavailability and high cost of premixed fuel for the operations. They also indicated astronomical electricity tariffs make it virtually impossible to operate cold storage facilities to store their catch. Nana Akufo-Addo promised a gathering of the chiefs and people of the area that his government, when given the chance, will bring back prosperity to the fishing industry.
Here 2012, Deputy Minister Namwale.
Before the 2012 elections, Namwale came here to cut the sword for the construction of the landing site, which is now at a standstill. I'm here to plead with you to try me and see. If given the opportunity, I will work diligently.
Try me. Try me. Try me. Yeah, try me and see. My voice, more I blame you. I feel me panify, Kagala be fry, you blame bear army. Niliake, Kenya Hammy Bear, Nimba, Nichumo Papa Mama Chuan, your fair, you fair Mobana.
All right, so that will be it for the AM News for now. You know that, as always, we have a lot more news when you log on to our website, myjoyonline.com. We'll visit the site in a bit after the newspapers, so stay with us. We've got the newspapers coming right after this.